My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence, that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C., and it is also shared on the Google Drive. Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state, and it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state.
Alrighty, 8:38 a.m. This is the entity that has the fake sun over me at 537 at Euclid Avenue, where the entity is worshiping, and this worship is that which precedes murder. Okay? The entity is engaging what is stalking under the fake sun. That's what the airport is doing. There's no terminals over here, where they're also engaging in dipping where the chevron is right across the street as though they're landing. That's psychopathic behavior. Clearly, with regard to what are the demon possessed that are gang stalking, and this is proven what is a fake sun that is right here. where I'm located. You can see my shadow on the ground over here. And the people of the state are engaging in that ongoing stalking as a society of the mentally ill. These are those that are sharing monitoring and surveilling genitalia. They share in stalking as a population. Their children that they give birth to are equally cursed and mentally ill. They engage in the criminal system with the government as well, while they practice it as a society. This is in furtherance of murder, and this is relevant to what is the fake sun that's sitting over the Ontario Town Square, which this is not that. This is advanced beyond the 280 North Limit Apartments, where the gang members of the Ontario Police are engaged in what is criminal summoning, the very heavily documented tactic of stalking me as an agency, for which they're going to prison. They center around the people of the state who are under that fake sun, where they're engaging in what is stalking you, monitoring, psychologically torturing, threatening, and terrorizing you together. And for that heavily documented pattern where the mentally ill are together engaging in ritualistic and mentally ill behavior, they're going to prison. It's the disbanding of the Ontario Police, and it's the federal imprisonment of Mike LORENZ, who was not a police chief. He's a terrorist leader. And that pattern of conduct is shared by the demon-possessed that are masquerading under a deceptive misnomer. They are not a police department. They are calling themselves the Ontario Police. And this is the public exposure of that terrorism that they share with corrupt law enforcement throughout the state of California. This fake sun at 8:38 a.m. is over the 280 North Limit Apartments, which is on the opposite side of this parking lot. It's not the same. It's not even over that building. And in that video that I captured that ended at 8:38 a.m., the entity is engaging in what is criminal summoning, and that band of demons is going to prison. And I've surrounded them with the body of evidence speaking to what is stalking and furtherance of seeking to secretly murder. They're not only engaging in what is fully exposed, they're doing it while mental illness is being exposed as well. Mental illness shared by a demon-possessed population. This is P.O.C. at 537 North Euclid Avenue, where the entity is also documenting keeping a fake sun until sunset on this same block, including at that same entrance of the OVITT Family Community Library. This is P.O.C. This is that same mental illness. A family of demons engaged in surveillance with the government under the fake sun, and the government that's obsessing over me is stalking by flying over the Ontario Town Square. All right, this is again the speaking to the necessity of martial law. And it's not just the lawlessness of the government, it's the mental illness of the population that's necessitating martial law. The entities engaging in this while they are stalking as a bunch of demons, desperate. Engineer light dragging across the wall, and I still publish the entity stalking under a fake sun at this Ontario Town Square area at 8:38 in the morning, where the entity is keeping the fakes. It's 9:47 a.m. This is where the airport is stalking me. And the entity is engaging in what is desperation stalking. The desperation is witnessed through the impulsive light activity. So is their demon possession, so is their mental illness. Okay? It is calling for martial law. And this is the entity that's mentally ill summoning the police when you're engaging in kidnapping together and you lie regarding what is events that didn't even happen. This is the demon. He's going to prison while the airport is stalking, and it has been stalking with this employee at the venue. And he engaged in kidnapping on September 28, 2025 with Joseph Valencia, that I documented battery. All right, the violence, the abuse, the ongoing psychological torture by that agency who was stalking while the airport's maintaining surveillance at the Ontario Town Square. The fake sun where S. Patty is gang stalking me at the same Ontario Town Square where these demons are stalking as the population at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, January 27, 2022. S. Patty's going to prison for that ongoing pattern of conduct that Mike LORENZ is still engaging in as a pattern of conduct by that agency. And the mentally ill, that includes Jason Fields and Tracy Banks, they are going to require force in order to keep them from engaging in what is obsessively stalking and furtherance of murder. That is because of their mental illness. That is because they are demon possessed. In the same way that force is going to be required, and that force is martial law. In order to stop an airport from stalking, to stop a police department from stalking, to stop a population from stalking, martial law. Okay, this is P.O.C. It's currently 9:49 a.m. where the fake sun is remaining over at 224 North Euclid Avenue, and you already know that it's still here because this is the same clock where the entity is engaging what is stalking, and then they're very short-sighted because they're also acting like they're landing behind this Ontario Town Square. Don't forget about that. When you're looking at the whole body of evidence, that's the ease with which I'm able to prosecute the mentally ill because they are inept. They're inherently defeated with regard to their condition, what they are versus who I am and what my evidence is able to show. This is P.O.C. It's currently 9:49 a.m.
Alrighty, where you see the dead, the multitudes of them stalking, they're doing it on behalf of the government. This is what is necessitating martial law to deal with the demon-possessed, whose criminal conspiracy to commit murder in secret has been an abysmal failure that's been published on the World Wide Web. For the federal imprisonment of terrorist leaders like Mike Lorenz, Alan D. Wapner, Ronald Loveridge, Julia Gu, Kurt Hagman, Jim Bowman, Michael Gerken, Jason Fields, a whole population of dead people, okay? And FedEx, that's engaged in harassing through not delivering a package that is paid for, is also gang stalking me at the same time. So under what is the fake sun. This is, again, the companies that engage in surveillance are engaged in what are tactics of harassment. I'm going to prosecute FedEx. So while they're holding on to my gloves and my beanie, I'm going to prosecute the company and expose it as a terrorist. This is P.O.C. Those are demons going to that FedEx vehicle while they're listening and engaging in surveillance with the government. In furtherance of murder, I'm going to prosecute that company and the rest of the people of the state. This is P.O.C. at 10:26 a.m. where the fake sun's over this same apartment building after 5 p.m. P.O.C. Alrighty, this is P.O.C. and this is the parking garage where I am located inside during the 7 a.m. hour, 8 o'clock in the morning, and I am facing it from the property of the OVITT Family Community Library after coming from where you see the fake sun over Chevron, and it's 2:51 p.m. This is the same block that's gang stalking as the airport, as the police, as the fire department, as the population. They are driving in engineered light. These are the demons that are monitoring as I'm capturing at 8:38 a.m. This is that same block where the airport is exhibiting demon possession, which is again a national security threat. While the demon possessed operate UPS Airlines, they operate Delta Airlines, they operate American Airlines, they operate Southwest Airlines, and they're doing so while they are stalking. Okay, openly engaging what is demon possession is an act of terrorism, and the Ontario police are being disbanded for this public corruption. 9 HFR 102's mental illness is going to be before a federal court in order to have them diagnosed and prosecuted for conspiring murder while they're engaging in criminal conduct with impunity. That's what's relevant. While the people of the state that are conspiring your murder are engaging in the pattern of conduct in real time. This is the downtown Ontario luxury apartments, the sunrise and the sunset. And this includes what is 2:52 p.m. This morning, this population is stalking. And like I stated, the demon possessed, the mentally ill, the criminal system includes their children, where they're engaging in public corruption as a demon possessed population that are a threat to national security. The entity is stalking as the airport, stalking as the corrupt government, and there's no natural environment where the sun would be present over the same venue. That's what you're looking at when the demon possessed are crossing path on foot, crossing path in vehicles, crossing path in plane and helicopter, doing so as a demon possessed that is a mentally ill and that is a corrupt population. 9 TFX 173 is openly engaging in terrorism just like they did when they committed battery at the Ontario Veterinary Hospital on behalf of the demons of the Ontario Police Department, and they will be being deported out of the country, because that's what you're looking at is the ongoing engagement. When they know that you're referring to their children, they put the children right on camera, and this is what you need to know when you're talking about immigration. They'll put the immigrants right on camera, and that's good because that's exactly what's being removed from the country. Understand that there is no coincidences under a fake sun. This is the entity that's speaking to the fact that they are indeed a threat. This is satanic pacing while they're monitoring, and this is criminal conduct by the Ontario police who are demon possessed as well. This is P.O.C. You need to understand the employees inside of the OVITT Family Community Library act with the same impunity when they commit kidnapping with the immigrants, with the children, KULICON, doing so with the entity that's engaging what is communicating to you the fact that children are engaging in that criminal conduct with the government, so are immigrants. Those are doing so in real time while it's captured on video, and this is exactly what's informing federal legislation regarding the deportation of the entity that's engaging in this criminal system. This is 215 EC Street. All right, remember the entity is gang stalking while American Airlines is stalking right here at this entrance yesterday, where you're engaging in psychopathic pacing, okay? You're engaging what is stalking as a population exhibiting mental illness, cheesing and laughing, coking and joking while you're being documented engaging in state action under what is a fake sun, where a population shares mental illness and they share the criminal conspiracy to commit murder, and they do so with the immigrants. Engaging in that, doing so on camera, this is the entity that's acting with that impunity, that disdain and hatred for this country and American citizens. That's what's behind them engaging in that very specific and intentional act. That's on video, and that's fine because they are getting deported. This is P.O.C. I want you to see the entity that's doing the exact same thing that American Airlines is doing. doing so, what will be at the 9 a.m. hour. This is Southwest Airlines that's openly conspiring murder. There's no airport over here, okay? There's no takeoffs, and they're acting like they're landing behind the Ontario amphitheater. Don't forget what UPS is doing. This is the entity again, the airline companies that are enemies of this country. They commit murder. That's what UPS committed in Kentucky, okay? And they do so with those that are natural-born citizens. They do so with those that are immigrants in this country, sharing in criminal conduct with the government. This is the mentally ill population, and their demon-possessed children are a threat to national security as well. This is P.O.C. They engage in that criminal conduct, and it needs to be known. They're doing it. I'm exposing it to you because you need to understand that, and this is relevant to what is the disbanding of what is Mike LORENZ as a terrorist organization. Engage in lawlessness with the population. 9VDY445 are also sex offenders. They share in sexual violence as a community as well, as a population as well. They share in mental illness. They share in criminal activity. And this is the revealing of what Tracy Banks and Jason Fields represent while they're engaging in this conduct as a corrupt entity that has been engaged in what is conspiring murder, and that open engagement in criminal conduct, which is no longer a secret, is putting them in prison as well. This is P.O.C. It is currently 2:55 p.m. where the Ontario International Airport, I'm at the square this morning. So there's no iteration of anything other than what I've shown you. Gang stalking children, gang stalking immigrants, gang stalking airlines, a gang stalking population. Gang stalking is demonic. Okay, the entities engaging in this pattern of conduct and the evidence surrounding their mental illness, and they're openly exhibiting that mental illness, is what is to be studied with regard to what I am prosecuting, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. The Ontario police are not ignorant about anything that's going on. So you have D'Souza, who's going to federal prison while his mental illness is put at the forefront regarding what is a threat to national security, where criminal surveillance is underway by the Ontario police and every other gang stalking terrorist organization in the state of California. This is P.O.C. Alrighty, it is currently, like I stated, 2:56 p.m. All right, the Ovitt Family Community Library committed kidnapping at 10:29 a.m. at this same venue. They're going to prison. P.O.C.
Alrighty, this is the ongoing evidence of the desperation of the demon-possessed. They're engaged in ongoing obsessive stalking. Mental illness is exhibited through the entity that is demon-possessed, that are using airlines that are corrupt, okay? The owners of these airlines are aware that they're being used to follow me around in the city of Ontario. There are no takeoffs and landings while you're doing cartwheels surrounding me while I'm on the side of the Ovitt Family Community Library. These demons are continuously doing this. It's currently right now 5:56 p.m. Ongoing psychopathic pacing is what that is. They're doing so while I'm documenting them, and they're doing so with the people of the state that are equally obsessed. This is the evidence of the desperation of demons that are stalking, okay? The desperation is evident in the specific environment. The desperation is evident as a whole city. The desperation is evident while the entity's engaging in the conduct, while it's fully exposed all over the internet. And the desperation is relevant to what is severe mental illness, and this is a threat to the public safety, okay? This is P.O.C.
Community library where demons are stalking in a commercial plane. So let me and this is the Ontario International Airport that's engaged in domestic terrorism, not a legitimate airport. The operations of that airport are centered on me. That's relevant regarding the desperation of the demon possessed. Okay, this is the P.O.C. It's exposing the entity that is engaging with its criminal surveillance on a ceaseless basis. They're stalking me at the bus stop where I'm sleeping. All right, that's relevant to the obsession of demons that are stalking. And you need to understand that these commercial airlines are terrorists. They murder people. So what I'm exposing, this criminal case against the state, is exposing what are acts of terrorism that are committed in this country. And that's what you are understanding, deducing from the P.O.C. It is currently 5:58 p.m. The desperation of the demon possessed is serving for what is evidence to prosecute for what has been criminally defaming my character, while the mentally ill have been stalking me the entire time. P.O.C.
(9LSL217) 8PZ1785. A psychopath pacing in the middle of the parking lot on behalf of co-conspirators of murder, including ARCO. 8YQS099, 9TKD096. This is the entity that is mentally ill, stalking with light. Very depraved. This is what they were doing while the fake sun remained over this intersection. This is, you look at all these people, they're all sick. They're all demons. They're all stalking. They're all sex offenders.
They are also making up immigrants that are in need of being immediately deported. These are all co-conspirators of murder. This is why the police department is not a police department. It's going to be disbanded. They're all in criminal activity together against the one person that is myself, who is exposing it and exposing their mental illness that poses a threat to the public, especially while they call themselves ARCO gas, while they call themselves Starbucks, while they call themselves customers, and they're engaging in criminal activity against an American citizen. P.O.C. License 8PZT785. That's the pattern of conduct. In the images, there's a demon engaging in what is psychopathic pacing on a bike. He's engaged in repeatedly molesting, stalking with impossible light. This is shared with regard to surveillance. There's no sun that's going to remain in any bus or any vehicle. This is a population of the mentally ill who commit murder together, sexual violence together, who stalk people together. Okay? Absolutely, you're deporting them out of the country, and this is requiring martial law. This is the population that's obsessively stalking while their secret is out. And that's also why martial law is necessary. The entity is not going to cease engaging in what is terrorizing American citizens, and so it is going to be force that the federal government is going to apply to cause the enemies of this country to stand down. This is P.O.C. It's currently 6:34 p.m. Alrighty, there is the state as well. The demons are stalking on behalf of the government. State-sponsored murder requires martial law. These are demons that are stalking at the library, engaging in cartwheels on the side of that library, stalking me down the street. Those are the mentally ill. Ronald Leverage is no official on any Ontario board. He's an exposed enemy of this country, and he's going to be prosecuted for conspiring my murder. And I'm necessarily publishing it because Ronald Leverage is conspiring my murder ceaselessly with a population of psychopaths just like him, sharing in criminal activity together while airlines are committing criminal activity in the name of the government. Those airlines are terrorists, and so are those that are calling themselves an Ontario Airport Board, sharing in mental illness. This is the population of demons that are engaging in that. And they're stalking because the government's stalking. They are in the shoes of the government. None of them are private citizens. None of them have any protection or defense in court either. This is a secured case with regard to prosecuting domestic terrorism. This is P.O.C. That's the entity stalking by planes, following me from place to place. You are only engaging in that while you are an absurdly psychopathic and demented stalker, both flying, stalking, and doing so as a population in concert with such demons. This is P.O.C. This demon's license plate is currently, let's see, 9TQY189. 9VQY189. P.O.C. This is a federal RICO case. All the money that ARCO is making it as a co-conspirator of murder. This is P.O.C. It is currently 6:37 p.m. This is relevant regarding the desperation of the demon-possessed that are stalking. P.O.C.
License 35099 Mary 1. License 822 Jerry Sam David, that's Oregon. License 9 Edward Thomas 910. License 9 Henry Frank Robert 102. License Edward Frank 76 Thomas 53. That's a paper plate on the white Tesla stalking at 215 E.C. Street, the OVITT Family Community Library, under the 4:01 p.m. fake sun. The fake sun that is remaining over that same entrance where the demon-possessed are engaged in psychopathic pacing inside of the OVITT Family Community Library, where criminal surveillance is underway on behalf of that gang stalking agency, the Ontario Police, for which the people of the state are going to federal prison, including the demons that are of the administration that are gang stalking while being paid a paycheck as well. And they're engaged in facilitation of sexual violence, facilitation of harassment, facilitation of federal stalking under Title 18 and furtherance of murder, facilitation of psychological torture while they themselves engage in all of those aforesaid federal offenses and furtherance of murder. And they do so with impunity, which is also relevant to how long they're going to prison.
OVITT Family Community Library, as a note, has been engaged in documentation of conspiring my murder as of 2018 as a matter of documentation, and their impunity is directly relevant to how many years they're going to prison. Okay, this is P.O.C. These are the license plates of the people of the state gang stalking with the OVITT Family Community Library, doing so while the entity is maintaining a fake sun as I'm documenting upon my exit at 4 p.m. License 8 Kelly Robert Mary 251. License 8 Victor Indiana Harry 850. 8 Victor Indiana Harry 850. License 9 Jerry Queen Yolanda 392. License 6 Nancy Yolanda David 346. This is German of the 506 North Euclid Avenue Chevron. Gang stalking as I am capturing the ongoing criminal surveillance that I'm subject to at that venue in concert with the people of the state and the government that's keeping me under surveillance via Chevron's criminal engagement in that pattern of conduct. Chevron and its employees are engaging in that pattern of conduct with impunity as well. That is the employee, the gang stalking employee, license 6NYD346, engaging in every criminal act that Chevron facilitates by virtue of its placement in relevant position, keeping me under surveillance. P.O.C. And as the images show on the Google Drive, the City of Ontario is engaged in criminal summoning, a federal offense committed by the City of Ontario, facilitating massive gang violence in furtherance of murder. This is Michael GERKEN. This is the Ontario Fire Department exhibiting demon possession. They are stalking with light while fire trucks and sirens are sounding. While they're engaged in what is demonic activity, they're engaging in the same thing when fire trucks are on the roads and the highways, driving while the fake sun is over me. And the entity is also engaging in what is the supernatural, stalking with impossible light. It's also impossible light while you are in the engineered environment in a fire truck sounding sirens and using the lights on those trucks. And it's a means of touching with light. It's impossible light activity with regard to the environment that I've shown you, the multiple shadows, is speaking to surveillance by a fire department that's actually engaging in criminal surveillance, not firefighting. And they're doing so in furtherance of murder with the same gang members, the Ontario Police, stalking ceaselessly day and night with a population that engages in violence on that agency's behalf in concert with that agency, which again, the people of the state are going to federal prison for. 7:20 p.m., the Ontario Fire Department is engaged in criminal summoning, stalking with light, exhibiting mental illness in the same way that the demon-possessed are doing while they are stalking as a population. This is the entity that's engaged in that inside of the OVITT Family Community Library while they are stalking with amplified noise and engineered light. Impossible light activity results while they are walking present in any manner in engineered light while they have perpendicular multiple pacing shadows while they are psychopathic with regard to their pacing conduct around me, maintaining an ongoing psychopathic ritual, stalking as demons in furtherance of what is a fully exposed criminal conspiracy to commit murder under the guise of what is the business of the OVITT Family Community Library. They share in that pattern of conduct. And it's also relevant to, again, the same conclusion. The people of the state are going to prison. P.O.C.